Hi there, guys. This is Bo from the WeirdSpeak podcast. I'm just giving you guys an official trigger warning. This episode will discuss eating disorders, toxic relationships with body image and self esteem. If any of these topics disturb you, I would recommend tuning into the last episode. Thanks and have a good day.
Hey guys, welcome back to WeirdSpeak. I'm Elliot and I'm here with my co-host. And today we're just gonna talk about some body image topics, and I think we're just gonna dive into it.
Yes. When was your first time noticing body image becoming a thing and noticing that people cared about what their image is to other people?
Jeez. Okay. I mean, I guess I'll go first then. I really started noticing it in like middle school is really like the my first introduction to like body image and stuff was like any form of like body dysmorphia. So like fat shaming, skinny shaming. Really just like the kind of like my first like introduction to it was a lot of the negative aspects. I felt so horrible because I kind of fell into it because like if you don't go with the crowd usually in those days you were just kind of like shoved as an outcast. So it was like it almost felt like you had no choice, but thinking on it, I really could have just not done that. Like been that kind of negative, like body shaming kind of person. That was my first experience to it. And then of course you see tattoos all the time. That almost got normalized in my household.
Yeah, body image was not really a thing for me throughout elementary school, but in middle school, that's kind of like a shifting period. Um, and so it was definitely middle schoolish. Um, and yeah, I think my experience was very similar to Julian's.
So I think I got introduced a little earlier because girls are very mean in elementary and middle school. So I definitely noticed it from second grade onwards. Um, but I noticed the first time that I really noticed something was these two girls who were 8 or 9 were standing in front of the bathroom mirrors and pointing out all their flaws and different things about themselves, and I was like, wow, maybe I should start thinking about that too. So that's definitely where mine came in from, and it always had a negative light about it because you know, from that point onwards it was always do you feel confident about yourself? Do you feel negative about yourself? What do you like about yourself? What do you hate about yourself? And it just spiraled downwards.
For a while, I was I think it's because of the people I surrounded myself around. Um, I have very, uplifting role models, like the kind that will tell you you are enough, and all that, and that your body is a beautiful thing. So I think I didn't judge it too harshly, and I had a bit of a more positive view on it. It's just definitely for myself. I think I always see other people as a beautiful thing, and then, of course, when it comes to yourself, it's like you can't take your own advice.
Yeah, definitely. And I feel like one of the bigger things about it is a lot of the times it is who you surround yourself with. And then you also have to think about society plays a lot in the role of feeling bad for yourself and good for other people. Even if you see a person with the same exact body shape, the same facial structure, the same everything about you, you would still say that they look better than you because it's a lot of negativity towards yourself because you don't want to be overly confident because then that comes off as cocky or mean or rude. How have um our body image issues changed from when we were teens to now that we're in our early 20s or early teen late teens for you?
Definitely changed more. Wait, sorry, what? Oh. Okay. No distractions. Um, yeah, it's definitely changed more so now. Um, Again, my feelings about body image just kind of evolve over time. Um, Now I don't see a stereotype, and I really like how in fashion and modeling, um, different bodies are being spotlighted. They're being shown, and it's just cool to see. In middle school, it was definitely harsher, although I never judged anyone else but myself. So yeah, it's I've never shamed anyone, um, except myself.
Don't you love that? Like how like we just tend to like shame ourselves instead of just like being like, oh, whatever, like nobody really cares. And then like nobody truly does care. It's usually just ourselves. Like
I
uh,
know, it's so insane.
I
Um,
definitely noticed that my body image changed through like my teen years to like now that I'm in my early 20s. Um like my body image has changed from being super down on myself, especially like when I got into like those toxic relationships we've talked about in the past. Like a lot of them involved like telling me that like I shouldn't be eating that or I shouldn't be eating this, or that it's not good to like be eating at like certain times of day when it was perfectly fine to be eating. To now that I'm in my like early 20s and like don't have eating disorders. um
Yay!
Yay! Still struggle with the thoughts, but it's better.
Same.
Um, but I definitely noticed that, like, now that I'm in my early 20s, I look back and I'm like, wow, why was I letting somebody tell me what I can and can't do? And, like, just because I thought that that was, like, the key to love and happiness and feeling supported, and I totally was just not supported whatsoever in that time period. So I think it's really interesting to like see that like through your teen years you feel like you know everything and you know what you want, and then when you like turn 20 it's just like there's so much evolution and change in your brain. It's like, wow, I was so stupid. I did not know anything.
I think that comes with every decade you turn, you know? Um,
Yes, absolutely.
I feel like I'm constantly evolving and growing and changing that when I do, because I'm not gonna turn 20 for another 2 years, but I think so much will be different, and I'm looking forward to it. It's just I know that everything's gonna be different by then, but, can't live the same thing all the time, and thankfully our thoughts try and evolve with us, and grow. But it's not to say that temptation isn't there, obviously.
Man, I mean, like the worst part too with that is like, I mean, like you never you. It's like, and I mean, I'm glad you know that there is a change that comes through, but like, and it's honest, like it shocks you with how quickly the change happens. Like I still remember like being 18, still like 100, like 120 pounds, soaking wet, and like not having to really worry about like my weight or anything, and then to come back around to now where like I'm 20, like so now like I'm almost in my mid 20s, which is first of all gross, and also like so now I'm up to like 180 pounds, and it's like I've gained all this weight, and I as much as I want to like I want to sit there and think like, oh, that's so bad, I need to lose that. I feel like it's just kind of like remnants of the fact that I was never truly taught like what's healthy, like what's a healthy body image, or like what's healthy to think about yourself. And so it's like I sit here and think I'm like fat, for example. I sit there and think I'm this ginormous like creature or whatever, but I'm not. It's just these like negative thoughts that I've always been around of like you just your body image in general.
Yes. And maybe me talking about like my eating disorder problems and like my like I guess you can call it like self-harm or like self-sabotaging natures, like developed. And maybe that'll help you feel like you can open up a little bit more. Just because I know that there's power in knowing that you're not alone. But I'll go ahead and share my story with it.
Yeah, go for it.
Because I know that when I learned that, like, I wasn't the only one going through this, like, it definitely helped me. I developed mine when I was about 13 years old. Um, I noticed that it started becoming a problem when I realized everyone else was like eating at lunches and eating and getting like all these calories. And I noticed that when I ate, I was binging, and then when I was done, I felt really sick about myself, and I had a lot of like bad or negative thoughts. Um, and that led to a lot of forcing throw up or um, forcing myself to feel negative to the point of like not eating for several days on an end. Um, so that was really, really hard. And there would be like weeks where it would just be like, oh, I can only drink this amount of water, or I can only eat this amount of calories in a day. Um, just because when you're going through stuff like that, it's definitely a thing of you feel like you're alone and you feel like everyone in the world is watching you, and um you start to feel like if you want to be something in life, you have to be at this number. And I remember taking photos with friends or taking videos with friends and looking at them and being so disgusted with myself and being like, my arms are too fat, my stomach's too big, my legs are too big, my feet are too big, like my hands look weird, my face doesn't look good. And now I look back at those photos and I was like, I was so skinny at that point in time. Like, I cannot believe that I thought those things about myself. And like the negativity towards myself and like the self-hatred um just led to me like going into these abusive relationships and going into like this mindset of being like, I don't deserve food. And it actually, I've talked a lot about it in therapy to my therapist, um, because I've noticed that through talking to my therapist, she's given me a lot of like insight on like why we do things. If you're a healthy person who's never been through it, just be careful of what you're saying to the people around you who you think might not have had one, because you never know. Because some people are very private about it, and a lot of people in my life had no idea what was going on, and they just thought I was trying to diet or do something about my weight.
I'll let Julian go in just a second, but I just want to say I hope people don't think we're laughing at the fact. It's just like it's a reaction that everyone has to like really serious topics. Is to kind of laugh it off, which is weird, huh?
Yeah, my therapist definitely told me like it's okay to laugh about things because you're uncomfortable. And when you're uncomfortable, one of the first reactions for a lot of people is just to laugh.
What is the main topic again?
Oh man, it's like I know it's in general like body image, body dysmorphia, body modifications and stuff.
Right.
I think
Body
it's like
image and body esteem issues, or self-esteem and body confidence issues.
Well, what was the question we were answering?
Oh, sorry. Have we ever had issues with eating disorders or
Oh,
self-harm due to body image issues?
okay. We went on so many topics.
Yes.
okay, yeah. So I guess one of the biggest things as far as like disorder, like eating disorders stuff, I even still go through today is like so I have like I'm sure when like for some of us like when I grew up, one of the biggest things was you always had you had to clear your plate because your parents worked hard on your meal or whatever excuse they can come up with. That was the reasoning why you had to clear your plate. So what I've kind of learned, especially like fairly recently, was like a lot of times kids will actually start to feel those bodily reactions where it's like your brain's telling you you're full, don't eat anymore, and then your parents like you need to clear your plate. And so it's come to a point now where like if I'm eating a meal, I'll just keep eating. I'll eat when I'm bored because now it's like I almost can't trust my body when it says it's full, or it's like, I'm not full, I need to clear my plate, almost in my head, like I'm still a kid. And it's something like it took until meeting Bo and then kind of working through that. Well, not even I haven't really talked about that yet with my therapist, but so I've done my own kind of research with talking with Bo about it. It kind of came to a realization of like, yeah, wow, that happened a ton. It actually happened fairly recently, a couple nights ago. My mom and I were just hanging out downstairs talking. Bo and I had just gotten a meal. It's funny. They eat dinner, quote unquote, at like 4 and then it's like and then like we'll usually eat lunch at around like 2, and then dinner's there like 2 hours later, and you're like, I just ate. Like, let me digest this first. And again, I'm laughing because of course reactionary things. And so that night, I went downstairs and I was hanging out with my mom, and I just finished a meal, and she's like, come get dinner. So I came to grab some just to make her feel better. Don't know why. And at a point, like, I knew I was full, and my mom's like, oh, it's okay. You don't have to eat it. I know it's disgusting, kind of like gaslighting almost. And I tell her, and if I told her, it's like, no, it has nothing to do with that. It's because I am full. I literally just ate. I will put this in the fridge and eat it a few hours later. And I eventually did eat it, and it was delicious. It was just like, I really need to, like, now I'm starting to get an idea of what those cues are, but there are days where it's tough. Like, honest to God, it's so hard to really realize when I'm full, or am I hungry, or am I just bored? It's it's a struggle sometimes.
Yeah. I honestly hate food, and I love it, but I hate it. Um, just because there's so many unresolved feelings I have with it. And just listening to you guys, I've written down some speaking points so I don't, forget the important things I wanted to say. Um, but it was really interesting to hear Bo and Julian because you guys had the opposite problems, it sounds like, undereating versus overeating. Is that correct?
Yeah, definitely. I definitely went back and forth with it. Because I would like binge, purge, or I would just undereat. So those were like I had almost all the problems.
Yeah. I don't wanna oh, were you gonna say something, Julian?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's like we did have kind of opposite problems. One of my biggest issues, especially growing up, was like I didn't have a healthy like working out kind of pattern. I leaned on my high metabolism for so long, which is why I was able to, like, I would eat so much and yet not really gain any weight until recent. And then all of a sudden it's like huge spike of weight gain. And then it's like, what the like what the hell, metabolism? Where are you at? I was depending on you, even though I should have been working on myself. And so now it's just like, and I'm sure we were told that as kids. I know I was told that as a kid. I just didn't listen.
I mean, it's hard to let go of mental health problems and stuff like that because without it, who are you? That's what it seems like. The tough thing with food is that younger, I could do what I wanted to, and now that I'm getting older and I want to have more defined muscles and abs and all those things, um, it's hard because I have to eat more, and eating more is a tough thing to do when you were under eating for so long.
Yeah,
Um,
I've definitely felt that too. And it's almost like it's a fight in your mind. And it's like it's so hard to overeat when you've been under eating for a really long time. So I get that.
yeah, especially with holidays and stuff like that. Um, it just has because holidays and big meals are like exceptions where you're like, don't judge yourself the next day. But depending on the mindset you grew up having, that depends. So that's kind of just where I'm at right now with food because I have big goals for my body and stuff, and I don't want to just stay in the same place. But it's just what sucks is that you have to increase the intake something I'm not used to.
God, and even like, and for the viewers out there who are listening, we just recently passed Thanksgiving 2020 to be exact. So I still even remember all of us like leaving leaving Bo's parents' house and just like almost like waddling to the car. And as funny as we felt it in the moment, is like for some folks it's not a good feeling to have to like waddle to their car because they ate so much. So yeah, no, I get you absolutely 100%.
I was struggling with thoughts that day.
Yeah, me too. I hate that feeling so
Oh,
much.
there's so many times where, I think me and Elliot shared a very similar problem. Um, and I'm willing to say it, but I know I suffered with bulimia and anorexia. So I feel like both of us have very similar mindsets in our eating part of our head. So the next question that I put on here was, how do we feel when somebody compliments a part of us we're not happy about?
Oh,
That's
that's
a
a good
hard
question,
question.
but
Yeah.
I'm gonna need a second because I'm
Okay,
trying to.
I'll do
Yeah.
mine first.
Okay.
Um, Cause so one of my biggest like issues is definitely like my arms and like I don't know, I think we were out getting Julian glasses. Um and the lady at like the counter said something like, "Oh, your arms look really good in that shirt." And I just felt so awkward. I was like, "Thanks." But I was like, "Yeah, I got this shirt at Target," and I like tried to just deflect, and then she said it again, and I was like, "Oh no. Oh no. I'm gonna have to like face my issue." And so I was like, "Thank you." But it's definitely hard when like you have an issue about like one of the parts of your body and somebody like points it out, but like in a good way, like in a way that you haven't thought about it. I don't know another way but to feel awkward about it. So, Julian, take it away.
Yeah, I was gonna say Julian go because I'm still trying to even think of a time that's happened.
Oh man, I would say like I think one of the biggest like as far as that question is concerned, I think one time, oh no, it was back in like elementary school. It was super weird. Like I generally like I don't have issues really like with my legs, for example, until someone points it out. Like so for some reason, like I think it was like I want to say it was like or not elementary school, I'm sorry, it was middle school, right? When you start noticing toxicness. There's these two kids that for some reason were like they were like talking about each other's calves. And then I just walked by and they were like, "Damn, look at your calves, boy. They look good." And I was like, "What the hell are you talking about?" Like my first my initial instinct was to like deflect and be like, "You are so strange for pointing out this random part of my body. How like what are you talking about?" And it was and even now like if like so because Bo and I are trying like we're always trying to work ourselves and biggest thing is like we'll compliment each other like out of nowhere and sometimes like that's my first instinct is to just almost deflect to how strange it is to point out a certain thing. But yeah, that's always my first instinct is just deflection and just shock, always shock.
I'm kind of like addicted to working out to the point where if it's been 3 days that I haven't worked out, my self confidence goes down a lot. Um, Especially if I'm going 3 days without working out. I don't know why. That's just a really long time to me. Um, but like I've been complimented on my arms, and I was like, I just said thanks, but obviously I didn't mean it. I I will admit my arms look better in tank tops than t-shirts. Um, and I've kind of just I don't know, I'm super comfortable in hoodies. That's where like I feel safest. And I like hoodies. They're my favorite fashion object. Um,
You know,
but
hoodies feel
yeah.
good, especially like I mean like hoodies are they're good and bad. It's like I've seen in some scenarios of like I'll use my brother as a rough example. He's always wearing hoodies and over time I'd realize like he wears them almost like to hide his body, and I know that because that's what I used to do. I would use hoodies as a means to like either to hide, or if there's been days where like there have been times where like you go to school and you're like, oh shit, I forgot to put on like deodorant or something. I'm gonna stink and be stinky smelly. And so I'd put on a big giant hoodie to kind of like try and hide my smell, or just hide anything on my upper torso area that I was not comfortable with. And I almost do that even now sometimes too. And that's like, so yeah, hoodies always have always been like a back and forth thing for me. They look good sometimes. Like sometimes you just wear it because it's cold. Like they're there to wear for like for weather. But then so like I always get worried for folks like building a dependency on like hiding behind a hoodie. But I mean, ultimately, again, it's like it's cold right now, so if it's not abnormal to wear one all the time. No shame on hoodie wearing. It's just be careful with it as well.
Elliot,
Yeah.
I aspire to have your mindset to be addicted to working out. I need that to happen to me.
You know, I like it, and I guess it will actually be beneficial moving forward. But there is also a little bit of an unhealthy thing about it, just seeing as my self-esteem drops, you know?
Yeah, and I hope
Um,
like with us getting like a gym membership like that, we can start going together and building like a healthy mindset all together.
yeah, definitely. And I
Fingers
think,
crossed.
yeah, I mean, working out does not have to be an everyday thing for some people. Um, if you're going, then you're there and you're getting it done. Um, but yeah, the hoodies, there's a lot that can hide behind a hoodie. Um, just like that's a really I'm just like leaving that open as there's a lot that you can hide behind a hoodie.
I think they're also like a cute fashion thing like that, you don't like well you can hide behind a hoodie and you can hide a lot of stuff behind a hoodie. And like I know that there's a lot of sanctuary in wearing hoodies, but they're also like super cute, they're super comfy, and a lot of them are like super soft inside. Um, but yeah, I like hoodies too. I
Yeah.
also like long sleeve shirts. Long sleeve shirts that are soft on the inside are my kryptonite.
Yes, I can agree with that depending on the material.
Absolutely. No, like
It
again,
can't be
hoodies
that
aren't
scratchy
negative.
shit. No.
No, hoodies are like again, hoodies are amazing. I love me a good hoodie. Like I guess like a quick kind of like deviation from our normal kind of body dysmorphia thing. Is it you guys prefer zip up or pullover? Because I love a good zip up hoodie over a pullover any day.
Pull
Oh,
over all the way.
pull over all the way. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, can I please tell you why I hate zip ups?
Yes, tell us.
Let me
Uh,
hear, heathen. No, I'm just kidding. Let
I hate zip ups. Um, okay, if I'm gonna wear one, it's gonna be to work because I have to show my work shirt under it. But other than that, I will not wear zip ups because when you sit down, it makes the weirdest little mountains on your body. It looks so weird.
phantom boner. Yes. Oh, that's the worst
Not only
part. I
that,
will give you
it's
that. I
like
will give you that.
it's like a phantom boner out your stomach. It's weird. Then you have to unzip it, and I'm just saying, pull over all the way, all
Okay,
day.
this is my issue with zip ups. One, I have been scared since I was a child that a nipple will get caught in it. Two, it's freezing cold on your stomach if you're wearing nothing under it. And I've been in those moments where I'm wearing nothing under a zip up because I was just like, oh, I just gotta run downstairs real quick while I'm getting ready for school.
Yes, I
And
get
it's
that.
freezing cold.
I'm literally not wearing a shirt under my hoodie right now, and guess
And
what?
guess
I'm
what? It's
comfortable.
cozy. It's comfortable. Okay.
How funny is it that we're digressing so much?
I love it.
These
Um,
questions have been conversation starters.
I know. All right. So, to shift into the next topic, what do we want to change or grow about ourselves without surgery, and what are our plans? I can go first. I know I definitely want to lose weight. I want to be like level of like a model, super skinny. I want to be able to wear a dress and feel confident. And I'm gonna start working out and drinking way more water because I don't drink enough water. And changing my diet, but not changing my diet for the worse. It's gonna be changing it for the better because a diet is just what you eat, not a strict thing. So take that, anorexia.
Your goals can be whatever you want, but I do think that you got to start on them right away because you are the youngest you're ever going to be right now. Um, I know, like, you got to take your time with it, be patient with yourself, all those things. But yeah,
That's it. We're
I
taking waffles for a walk after this.
I didn't even realize I didn't even plan on saying that. It just came out, but how true. We're the youngest we're
That's
ever
so
going to be right
true.
now.
That is. And like, there's only one way to go from here, and that's up. And so you gotta think about it that way. And like, no matter what your goals are, there's a way to start on them now. You don't need fancy gym clothes. You don't need fancy anything. You don't need a gym membership, to be honest. You just need motivation. It's a motivate first, but I mean
Julian,
motivation.
Julian, do you want to answer the question?
Yeah. So I guess like as far as dream goals go, I'm glad you guys mentioned age because like for a long time, I wanted to be just like the covers of all the men's workout magazines where you have like incredibly defined muscles everywhere. I'm starting to kind of fall in love now with like the dad bod look. And I say that with hesitation because I don't mean like, oh, I want like I don't want to like imply that dad bod equals fat, but more like having like a steady, like a firm sense. Like I want to be like a tree almost if you think about it that way. Like I want to have like a solid base, but then like to kind of stretch out my limbs everywhere else wherever they need to go. I promise I'm not high this time, you guys, by the way. I'm just going over my thoughts. So yeah, so sturdy like a tree. I want some I want muscles, but not like obvious muscles. I want tattoos all over. And then I guess whatever the trend is by the by the time I'm like old enough and have kids. Ultimately, just like I want to be a tree.
All right. So, our next topic that we're going into is going to be plastic surgery. Um,
Ooh.
yeah. So I just kind of want to know your guys' thoughts on it and what for you is going too far, or creating like a false reality.
My answer for this one, I say with great hesitation, and that's like where it starts to look unnatural. Like I guess if you want to look like a tree, or not a tree, I'm sorry, to focus on trees. If you want to look like a lizard or like a tiger or whatever, that's your thing. But I guess if you do it to where you are cutting out everything else from your life and all you're focusing on is your physical body, then I feel like that's where it goes too far. Once it becomes a true like a true to God obsession, that's where I think it's way too far. You do whatever you want. It's your body. Just know that like you got like there are other things to make yourself happy in your body aside from just the physical form. Sometimes you got to think into the metaphysical or even like the social and the mental.
Yeah, I think my answer for this question is super short and simple. I am not against plastic surgery or anything under that topic at all. It's your body, do what you want. Um, there's a line from this Haley Steinfeld song that goes, um, oh, let me look it up. while Bo shares.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. I can definitely share on this topic. My thoughts on plastic surgery are definitely very like loose thoughts because I feel like everyone should be able to make their own decision, like your body, your choice. Um, so like my biggest thing is if for someone who thinks that it's taking it too far, like it's honestly not anyone else's choice but the person who's getting those modifications, getting those surgeries done. And honestly, like I wouldn't think like if I was given the opportunity to get plastic surgery, I honestly probably would. Um, I know that there's definitely a few things that I would want to get done. Um, like in my personal opinion, I feel like everyone um has like a perfect body per se. It's just in their eyes that like they don't see it. But if they want to change something about themselves, like I really think that it should be up to them.
Yeah, 100%. I feel the same way. I feel like, yeah, my answer for this question was super short and simple. Here's the line from the song that I just love, and this is why I am so for people doing whatever they want to their bodies if it makes them happy and if they're not losing everything around them to get their perfect body. Does that make sense? Where you're like Julian said, where you're not obsessing and you're not so focused on yourself all the time, if that makes sense. Um, but here's the line from Most Girls by Haley Steinfeld. It says, "You know, some days you feel so good in your own skin, but it's okay if you want to change the body that you came in. 'Cause you look greatest when you feel like a damn queen." And I just like that line.
I love that line. I forgot the song until you just said it, so I'm gonna have to re-download it so I can listen to it again.
Hell yeah, that's a
I love that song. Um,
I love that line. It's
I
just so
definitely
perfect.
agree with that 110%. Like, it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. Like, to hell what they're saying about you. Like, if you want to get a boob job, get a boob job. If you want to change who you are, change who you are. If you want to get lip fillers or a nose job or whatever, do it.
I guess the last thing I would kind of throw in there, it's like anyone can do anything to their bodies, and honestly, it doesn't even really matter their age, because like you'll hear a lot of like where people say like, oh, like kids want to do something like that, and in ways it can be toxic. At the same time, like you're like just because they're a kid doesn't mean they don't know exactly what they want. Even if they regret it later, at least they did it. At least they didn't regret not doing a certain thing. So like for that goes any which direction you want to tie it to. I feel anyone should do anything to their body, but like you said earlier, just don't. And like I said earlier, just don't lose yourself in worrying about and worrying constantly what you look like when you have other other aspects to also kind of touch on too. You'll get happy, yeah, because eventually you'll be happy completely, and you can do everything you want to do to your body.
I
I
highly
know.
agree with
Oh,
that. Sorry.
sorry. I just wanted to say I know this is super off topic. Sorry to digress, but yeah, especially with kids, it's it's tough because people think they're just in a phase, but sometimes they're not. And it doesn't have to always be plastic surgery. It could be transitioning too. Um, that's a whole nother subject. But yeah, it is a whole nother conversation. Um, but I think it's just you gotta have that conversation. Um, and I feel like the parents will know if their child is really serious about what they want to do. Um, and that you gotta trust them.
Okay, I have one last statement to make about that. Because I did put that in here. Like, what do we think about like kids and teenagers getting plastic surgery? My biggest thing is like, as a person who's done like a lot of research and watched a lot of things on plastic surgery, something that we don't realize is how reversible plastic surgery can be. Like there's a lot of people who've had like their breast implants taken out because they don't like that look anymore or they're having a kid and they're gonna be wanting to like breastfeed. And there's also like teenagers who, yeah, they want like a surgery and then they don't like how it turns out. So they have like dissolver for lip fillers or, tons of other things. So even if they get it and they want it reversed or don't want it anymore, there's also that huge piece of information that you have to think about that, they can reverse it.
Yeah, exactly.
We're absolutely gonna have to do a part 2 because we didn't even get to like tattoos, piercing, or other
Yeah, we should
types of
for sure
body-
do we should for sure do a part 2.
Okay.
Because this has branched off in so many
Yeah.
ways.
Okay. So the last question is, what would we get done if we could get any plastic surgery done? So I'll answer it first. I'd definitely get lip lip fillers. I feel like I have a decent nose. And I feel like I would get like maybe a Brazilian butt job.
A BBL?
Yes.
I really look up to Cher because I think she's so beautiful. I don't really care that people have a problem with her plastic surgery and whatever she's done. She's not private about it. And she doesn't have to be. Um, I just think that's really cool to be open about it, and she can afford it, so she does what she wants. Um, for myself, yeah, I think lip filler would be nice, um, and maybe a nose lift. Um, but yeah, really, that's about it because I kind of want to see where I can get on my own.
All right. Yeah, I would say, I mean, if there's any form of plastic, I'll do something to my nose because it got like punched by a kid back when when I was like living with my grandma, and it hasn't really looked the same since. It's like kind of bumpy. I would love to do something to my nose if I had the ability to do so. And I don't know. Maybe I'd try and get rid of like I would probably try and get rid of all the stretch marks on my body if that was possible with plastic surgery. But if not, then I will love myself.
I have a great oil that helps with that. All right, well, does that wrap everything up, Bo?
That wraps everything up. I hope everyone has a good day. Bye from Bo.
Goodbye from Julia.
Thank you guys for listening. We're definitely going to do a part 2 because that branched off in so many directions. But we will see you in the next episode, and have a great rest of your day. Have a good night, have a good morning, whatever you are doing. See you at the next episode.